What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Landscape Rescue. My name's Stuart Moore, and today we're gonna do a quick kind of semi-garden tour now that everything's kind of woken up a little bit. Still not very pretty because this is a summer bed, but I wanted to show you how pretty everything's gotten. So the East Friesland salvia has started to bloom relatively, we're almost done. I'm saying we're relatively through it pretty good. I'm still getting some buds on some of the earlier blooming salvia that, what variety are they, you might ask? I don't know. They're done blooming. I know they're not East Friesland because East Friesland started about, I don't know, 2 weeks later than these did. So you can see different colors. I got these in a 4-inch and I planted them over in my problem bed. I've been transplanting things out of my problem bed. I don't know what variety they are, but I remember I bought them in I bought a flat of them, you know, and we're gonna go back there. I'm gonna show you the flower bed. This is a Worts and All situation. I'm showing you everything I got. It's a little embarrassing. When you meet a teacher's kid and they're really stupid, that's what's about to happen with us right now. Here, I haven't bothered remulching this area because I'm fed up. In our house, we like to run up and down this fence row because there's another dog over on this side, and we like to run at full sprint through here and trample anything and everything. So the only stuff that's really survived in here, panicle hydrangea trees, quite a lot actually of Irish eye rudbeckia. Check out these guys. These are, I don't know, like 3 years ago, I bought them in a little 4-inch for like $3 a piece. $2.50 maybe, I don't know. They are blowing up. This right here, if you can see, this guy right here, I've got a picture of Titus. This is a purple dome aster that is taller than Titus's head, and Titus is maybe right here. So this is the largest purple dome aster I've ever seen in my life, and they're all doing it. So we're done with that guy. We're done with him. I think I'm probably gonna pull out these Irish eyes and I'm gonna move them over to the berm, which is another problem area. We get the zoomies. We get very excited, usually 4 or 5 times a day we get the zoomies, and then the other times that we're outside, we're angry at the other dogs. I assume it's something like, you better stay away from my people, they're my people kind of situation. Here is we're behind the shed, the junk pile. Really, I've cleaned it up a lot. This is a clematis that I bought from Lowe's for $8. Yep, $8 clematis right there. And then we have just the typical, I'm gonna be a clematis and fuss about something kind of situation here. Good times. I'm not worried about it because that clematis is just gonna tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and best shot of it right there. You know what? I think they were originally $12, $12.50. I bought these in a video. I ended up giving one away to an older lady that was there, $5 a piece. This is the shed. I've got a little bit of mulch left. This is gonna get it. I've ran some irrigation behind there, and that's what this video is gonna do. We're gonna do some irrigation stuff. I'm gonna show you real quick. So, little garden tour. I wanna walk you around the whole thing, so that way you know that I'm a hypocrite and I can't take care of my backyard. Bobo hydrangea gets plenty of water, so it's doing really well. I bought those as a 2-gallon. In one of the videos a couple years ago, I bought those as a 2-gallon, and I paid like $2 a piece for them. It was actually stupid. Like, I felt guilty about it. Bobo, was a Bobo there. That died. I remember. I didn't tell, so these Bobos weren't set up on irrigation. I was hand watering them, and I just planted them. They were only about a week and a half old. I'd been hand watering them every morning before I went to work, and then when I came back, I'd water them again. The irrigation was set up to run every other day. Now, it's a hillbilly irrigation system. I'll show you how we do that. So Bonnie would just go out and she would set it up during the day, and she would run it for an hour, and then she'd switch the hose to the other side. She'd run the other side for the hour. That's how we had it set up. Well, these weren't hooked up. Everything was hooked up on 2-gallon an hour drip emitters. The hardy hibiscus are. So this is Midnight Marvel and Starry Night. The Bobos weren't. They weren't set up on anything. They were being hand watered. I went to San Antonio to pick up Lolly because my sister had Lolly and I was taking Lolly. My sister was giving me Lolly. It was part of the litter of puppies that she just had. And she just had new puppies, and she's been sending us pictures. It's very hard not to get another puppy, but obviously, I don't think my landscape can handle another puppy. I have to be 100% honest, because that's gonna do nothing but make Lolly even crazier than she is already. And when I went to get Lolly, my lady didn't know that I had been hand watering these, so she thought everything was just running on irrigation. It's not her fault, I didn't tell her. Got some right down here. We have a different variety of black-eyed Susan. It's got smaller flowers, I can't remember that. There's also some more over by the clematis over there. There's also a whip, a little tiny whip of redbud that is over there, and I'm gonna lean that over and I'm just gonna run it along the fence. So I'm gonna try to do something really cool with it. Not a sweet summer hydrangea. Those are against the fence with the lime lights. This is a, hold on, I can think of it. White wedding. You got a white wedding right there on the corner. You got a white wedding right here. You got a white wedding on the other side. Pink lady apple tree, Arkansas blue star or Amsonia, mimosa, white wedding, white wedding, white wedding. Nailed it. Boy, we're getting this garden tour. It's just rolling. I love it. This is a Jackson Perkins climbing rose that I cut back in the spring, and I still got some blooms out of it. I just need to be better about training it across the top of the fence. You have a small window before that turns woody, and what I don't want to do is I don't want to forget about it and then not train it again this year. So I had to cut all the woodiness out of it, and so that way I can get some good blooms, next year running across the top of this Arkansas blue star. And they don't bloom at the same time, but I do like how ferny this texture is. Amsonia is so nice for texture and turns yellow, and then there's some butterscotch mixed in here. So there's just regular Amsonia in here, just botanically Amsonia, and then I have butterscotch kind of mixed in. And you can tell in the fall color the butterscotch is a little darker, but very pretty. Here's my thing about Amsonia, and I'm just gonna throw this out here. That is a lot of Amsonia. I got it all for free. The nursery I used to work at, we got stuck with it. The contractor didn't want it, and the person that bought them didn't want them. So what in the world am I gonna do with all this Amsonia? Nobody knows what it is, no one's gonna buy it. Well, contractor-wise, they just weren't into it. So there's like 60. And so we give them away, we give it to contractors. We're like, hey, I've got some Amsonia back there that needs a good home. That's how I say it. You know, we'd sell it periodically for like $2 or something like that. And we still had so much left. So I took this and I just mass planted it over here. I'm not a huge fan of it planted in mass. What I should have done is I should have gone inside this berm here, which is a mess. It is a mess. I should have gone over into this berm and I should have planted them in threes. But at the time, see, if you can notice, this berm is basically a raised part of like a NASCAR track. It's like it's a berm, right? And so what Lolly can do is she can really get some good speed and bank up against the side, and you'll see her trail. You can see her trail. I'm sorry the sun is going to be in your eyes. Let me do that like this. You can see the trail, how she comes up in here and she banks all the way around and comes out here, because the amount of plant death is pretty substantial. I'll come here and show you guys. Yeah, see, she'll like enter right here and she'll bank around, and she's just wiped out all the black-eyed Susans, all the May night salvia. There's some little black-eyed Susans poking through here. And then in the spring, I transplanted some in here. So I've got a bunch of echinacea, I've got a bunch of black-eyed Susans. The salvia is kind of still alive because she banks high. She's moving, she's cooking, she's banking high. There is a Mr. Huey. So one of the things that inspired me to do a little bit of a garden tour, the Worts and All garden tour, is because I wanted to let you guys know I had an epiphany, right? I had a landscape rescue epiphany. I'm driving along, and you know how car clubs on the weekends, they like to like congregate at like Steak and Shake, or this was kind of a ghetto car club, so they were meeting at McDonald's, which when I was growing up, McDonald's was the cheap place to eat, and now I feel like I'm going to a gourmet restaurant based on what I'm paying to go to McDonald's, but that's an old guy problem. I've got old guy comments now that come out of my mouth randomly, and everything is getting so expensive is one of the old man things that I say. They're leaving Walmart, and there's like some nice looking cars that are coming out, and then intermixed with the nice looking cars, there's some old busted ass cars, like a Mustang that's like primered, you know, and has Bondo on it and is missing a T-top or something, you know, there's always something in there. And I changed my mind about car clubs. I thought, see, they're still letting that guy in, right? He doesn't have the fanciest car, but it doesn't mean he's not just as passionate about cars. So he's allowed in the club because the club is about their individual pursuit of excellence in cars. That's what I want this channel to be. This is our individual pursuit of landscape excellence, right? Your own pursuit in landscape excellence. So I thought, why not do a warts and all video about where I've failed as a gardener and stop being embarrassed by it and just bring you guys out and show you how I was completely unprepared for having a dog in my garden. I had to put this ugly ass fence, right, with like scraps to keep her from launching herself 8 feet into the air and going and playing with these other dogs over here. Oh, that's another thing. She likes to pace up here and fuss at those other dogs and then runs up to the fence and wags her tail at them. I don't know what they talk about. Dogs, when they talk to each other, sounds very aggressive. It sounds like they're very angry at each other, but then when they meet in person, they just wag their tails and they're really happy. So I think it's just like dogs just kind of sound like German people, you know, very aggressive, but they're just talking about, you know, food or something fun, or Taco Tuesday, but it wasn't Tuesday, it was Wednesday, but they're just angry. That's how German sounds to me, is just angry. And that's how dogs sound to me too, even though they're not being angry. Warts and all, warts and all. That's why we're not judgy, right? That's why don't get judgy, because you never know when you're gonna get a puppy and she's gonna destroy your landscaping. And now you're the guy with the busted car, right? You don't wanna get kicked out of the car club. You don't wanna get kicked out of the garden club just because you get a patch of rough luck. You ran out of mulch and you forgot to put your snapshot down, and now you got a bunch of oak trees in your well, I didn't put the snapshot down on purpose because I'm trying to see if there's enough Black-Eyed Susan seeds in the seed bank over here to pop back up, and there is. So I've got little guys right here just getting ready to just fill this space, because Mother Nature does not like, what in the world? Look at this monstrosity back here. How attentive am I as a gardener? I've got literally a wild carrot. Oh, I'm not even man enough to pull this out. So if you hold it and you kick the crap out of it, a lot of times it'll just break like that. Look at that. Look, how much fun is this? How much fun is this, us spending time with each other? And then I just throw it in my easement. Okay, so back here, this is a Mr. Huey. I started that train of thought. I was going to tell you. Subscriber and I were talking about the Today rose that I lost. I think I actually talked to them today, actually, about that in the comments. This is a Mr. Huey. This is the rootstock for a lot of the roses that we get. This is the rootstock, and they graft the pretty rose on this Mr. Huey, which is a tough, robust, vigorously growing rose. It's not that it's not gorgeous. This thing is stunning. It's like this violet red color. Very pretty. And you can't kill it with diesel fuel. The reason I say that is because for 2 years, there was not a Mr. Huey over here, right? There was a Today rose that died. 2 years later, that thing showed up. Like that rootstock was just like in hibernation or something like that. And now I'm gonna just train it up that post over there to cover it up, because my backyard looks like a garage sale, like a leftovers of the garage sale. Snow Fountain Weeping Cherry right there on the corner. 2 years ago, had a very rough winter, to the tune of it died. All the tissue on the thing died. It had this little tiny sprig. And then that year, those sprigs got all the way down to the ground. So don't ever count out your weeping Snow Fountain cherry. These are fire and ice hydrangeas. These are this gorgeous display. This gorgeous display. The devil comes in many forms, folks. This is pink primrose. has completely taken over this bed. When I first started, I think I started with 4. And they were just kind of in this little area right here. And then this was my dianthus area. So I had a bunch of dianthus in here, but as you can see, the lollipop likes to run up here and stand right on that corner and protect us from dogs that weigh less than a pound. I appreciate it. This is a bucket. I don't know why there's a bucket in there. I also have a 10-year-old. This is all this right here is a blackberry bush that I cut down to the ground. It's a thornless blackberry, and it is in charge. So if anybody lives in the local area and wants to link up with me on Facebook and wants to come get a thornless butterfly or a thornless blackberry bush, I will dig one up for you. You just gotta give me a time and a place. I'll meet you at Come and Go or something. This is my clematis that I cut all the way to the ground this spring so I could get all the leaves out of there. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Crappy little birdhouse that I made a long time ago. Before I even really knew how to make birdhouses, I made this one. It's made like 3 different pieces of wood. I went through a birdhouse phase. I'm not gonna lie to you. Anyway, that's looking really good. That's it. That's the backyard. That's the backyard. Thanks a bunch for coming out on this quick little garden tour. I really do appreciate it. I understand it's not as thorough, I guess, as it could have been, but there's just not a whole lot of plants left after 2 years of absolute chaos. So, I do appreciate it. My name's Stuart Moore. This is Landscape Rescue, and thank you very much for letting me into your home talk about plants.